session natin. Katong mga questions butang na lang ninyo sa chat para dili kayo madisturbo akong discussion. So again, the history of the Philippines, I think you have already known that ever since elementary. Yan. We are originally named after King Philip II, hari ng Espanya nung 1500s, and it was named by a Spanish explorer, si Villalobos, Ruy Lopez de Villalobos, noong 1542. It was originally named Filipinas, and then to include the whole archipelago, naging Las Islas Filipinas. Yan. So, we are one of the countries na may napakaraming isla, around 7,100, depending on the tides of the seas. Yan. Divided into 3 main island groups. Yun ulit, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. 17 regions, 81 provinces. And of course, we're a sovereign nation. We have undergone multiple changes sa Constitution. First Constitution, 1935. Second is during 1973. And yung ngayon, the recent is 1987. Yan, na-discuss ko na ata yung recognized forms of acquiring citizenship, jus soli, jus sanguini, and yung Filipino by naturalization. Yung concepts and theories was based on Virgilio Enriquez' book, Psikolohiyang Pilipino. That is actually Filipinization. That is our unique indigenous psychology, or for short, yan yung Filipino indigenization with the following areas of concern. Yan. Yan. We have unique tribes and groups sa different parts ng country. Kaya iba't iba ang concepts ng mga na-enumerate dyan. So, according din sa libro ni Rogelia Papua or Pepwa, with the same title, the following are the methods of data collection nila, which is uniquely Filipino din. Yan, kapa-kapa or grouping. It also includes pakikipagkwentuhan or storytelling by those members of the tribes. Ang mga researchers din, nakikilahok din sila sa mga ritual at mga seremonya. And also, they lived with those Filipino tribes to know more of the culture and to share it also through their book. And one of the main concepts or focuses are our language and paano natin binabahagi yan. So, our main language is Tagalog, but there are different dialects in every region or every area sa Philippines. So, for example, sa Cebu, mga Cebuano, Waray sa Eastern Visayas, mga Chabacano sa Zamboanga Peninsula, and yung mga Tausug, mga Maranao, yan, kanilang mga dialects sa Muslim Mindanao. And of course, sa Luzon, meron yung mga Ilocano, mga Kapampangan, at mga Uragon, yung mga Bicolano sa Southern Luzon. So, it's different ang mga language. And of course, yung mga letterings or yung letters na ginagamit, like for example, yung noon, yung paggamit ng baybayin. Yan. Also, yung pagkataong Pilipino or those unique characteristics of a Filipino which was actually put into the writings ni Virgilio Enriquez sa kanyang libro, The Filipino Personhood or Pagkataong Pilipino, kung saan meron tayong mga core values according to him, ang pag-value sa kapwa, ang pakikiramdam, at ang kagandahang loob. So, they are the three main core values according to him. So, ayan. For example, ang mga Pilipino may malasakit at may pangunawa sa kapwa. Because as we all know, Filipinos have a strong tie not just with the family but also of the community, 'di ba? For example, sa mga pista. Kanang mga pista sa nayon kasagaran na mo dahayo sa isa ka balay, katong ilang mga katapad balay pod or yung mga kapitbahay nila na kahit 5 kilometro ang nilakad, they would still consider those people as their neighbors. Yan. So that's one of the sub-values sa pakikipagkapwa. Yan. Filipinos are more united when the community and the family is blended into one. Kaya ang mga Pilipino may pakikitungo or certain relationship or transactions with other people, whether related by blood or not. Yan. So, ang mga Pilipino, mahilig din sa pakikisalamuha or interaction in a societal level, di ba? Nakikipagkwentuhan, nakikilahok sa mga ritual, mga seremonya or mga laro sa komunidad, at nakikibagay. Yan. According sa libro ni Enriquez, those Filipinos who shown understanding sa kapwa through the use of yung pakikibagay or pag-uunawa sa mga pinagdadaanan ng iba are what makes us unique and what makes us united. Next is yung pakikisama. Kasi alam naman natin, hindi lahat ng panahon masaya. And there will be times na sobrang lungkot ng ating mga kasamahan, mga kabarangay o mga kapamilya. And it's natural for Filipinos to console or to empathize with those, especially yung mga Pilipino sa ibang bansa. Nakikisama sila sa kapwa Pilipino sa hirap at ginhawa. And also, hindi lang ibang tao ang pakikipagkapwa or hindi lang sa ibang tao, but also to everyone. Whether Filipino sila or hindi, Filipinos understand and would socialize with other nations or nationalities. Because Filipinos are hospitable or known to be hospitable and friendly. That's why we establish rapport or good relationship with those people regardless of location, yan, kung mga OFW sa ibang bansa or regardless of nationalities. 'Di ba may mga foreigners pumupunta sa Pilipinas at namamahal or napamahal na sa Pilipinas dahil sa magandang pakitungo ng mga Pilipino sa kanila. Okay? Which of course, as we all know, one of the recipes na kung saan magkakaroon ng pagkakaisa ang komunidad. Okay? That's all part of kagandahang loob. So there is a genuine act of generosity na nasa mga Pilipino. Regardless, meron talagang parte sa puso ng Pilipino na may malasakit sa kapwa. Okay? But there are also some other values na somehow double-edged or may positive and negative effects. Those surface values. For example, yung hiya. Yung hiya, it's double-edged. or shame in English. Because there are other researches around Filipinos or the Filipino culture of yung pagiging mahiyain. Filipinos would love to avoid being embarrassed. Ayaw ng mga Pilipino na mapahiya, especially sa harap ng napakaraming tao. So, that is somehow double-edged. It has a negative effect kasi kung kinakailangan mo na talagang gumawa ng bagay na ikabubuti mo, bakit ka pa mahihiya? It could drag down the confidence of a Filipino. But also, Filipinos na mga napahiya or placed into embarrassment or awkward position, it somehow makes an alternative or comforting feeling para maiwasan na yung awkward position or yung embarrassment nila lalo pang lumaki. Yan. Kaya ang mga Pilipino, mas pipiliin nila na mapahiya kasama ng iba. Yan. So, mas mabuting may kasama sila na napahiya or to be embarrassed with someone. That's why Filipinos, generally, yung mga nasa provinces, most of them are originally mahiyain. Yan. Next is utang na loob. This is again double-edged, may positive and negative effects. So that is gratuity or I should say yung debt of honor. And utang na loob. So, for example, may ginawa sa yung maganda na bagay yung isang tao, kapwa mo Pilipino or even the other nationalities, and you give an exchange or you give gratitude back to that person. It does not require na ngayon talaga, but when you have the opportunity and the ability, you expect yourself to reciprocate that gratitude or that action that was done to you or simply returning the favor. So ang pag-return ng favor, yung utang na loob, it is positive kasi pinapahalagahan mo yung ginawa ng tao sa'yo, but also negative because kung ang tao o ang Pilipino ay nabubuhay na lang dahil sa utang na loob, then he would easily be tied up or mas malapit siya sa mga bagay or mga desisyon na somehow mali kasi hindi niya personal na desisyon. And of course, when you have utang na loob, yung sobrang utang na loob, kahit anong pabor na hihingin nung taong yun, eh, wala kang choice whether it's good or bad dahil may utang na loob ka, ginagawa mo na lang. Okay? Yan. Sunod, the smooth interpersonal relationship o yung pakikisama at pakikipagkapwa or companionship. Filipinos are known sa ibang bansa na mahilig magkumpol o kanang magtapok-tapok, whether maglaag na sila or magtrabaho. Tungod kay ang mga Pilipino sa laing nasod, ang mga OFWs, mas matatag yung pakikisama nila kasi nadala nila yung kulturang yun galing dito sa ating bansa. And in order to conform or makibagay sa nakararami. Yan. Conformity with the majority. Okay? One of those surface values na primarily negative ang effect, itong bahala na. Yan, bahala na attitude. For example, may gagawin kang assignment ngayon. Pero sinabi mo, bahala na. Kasi hindi mo alam. Or you have that sense or feeling of resignation or parang susuko ka na over that assignment. Kasi sa tingin mo, hindi mo kaya. Again, this is very much a negative value. Hindi dapat to pinagpapatuloy ng mga Pilipino kasi first and foremost, it really affects everyone. Bahala na. Bahala na si Batman. Eh, paano 'pag hindi dumating si Batman, 'di ba? So, there's no better way than to do it your way, 'yan. So, kailangan mo na magkusa. And how can we fight that bahala na attitude? How can we be confident? Of course, lakas ng loob or guts. Filipinos are known for that. Yung mga national heroes natin, of course, the common thing with them, aside na bayani sila, lahat sila nagkaroon ng angking lakas ng loob, which originated from our ancestors, di ba? Some of those heroes, hindi natin masyado kilala, pero nagpakita sila ng lakas ng loob sa mga panahon na kinakailangan. In the midst or in the middle of uncertainties or problems. Like for example, wala mo kaila sa contribution ni Benito Ebuen. Yan. Is considered a hero. Yan. Sa mga ginawa niya nung giyera sa World War II, he protected at least and fought against those invaders, yung mga Hapon. Yan. Napakaraming hero. Yan. Si Lapu-Lapu, just some of those famous. Yan. Gregorio del Pilar, si Marcelo del Pilar, Tandang Sora, then to the point ng or to the period ng American colonization, sila Claro M. Recto, Jose Abad Santos, yan. So lahat sila may lakas ng loob na manindigan or to prove with guts what they think is right. Yan. For example, yung mga sundalong lumaban at namatay. For example, yung mga sundalong namatay sa Sulu or namatay sa digmaan. Everyone tried during that time. Lahat sila may lakas ng loob. To the point na handa silang magsakripisyo ng kanilang buhay para lang makamit yung minimithi nila and to overcome that problem. Of course, even if you have that guts, Filipinos also would like to have this resistance. There's certain type of resistance. Kasi in the history, ang mga Pilipino, tinatrato ng ibang mga lahi na mahina or just slaves. For example, yung Spanish era, yung panahon ng mga Espanyol, konti or walang mga Pilipino na nagkaroon ng pagkakataon na maging bahagi ng gobyerno aside from being slaves. Yan. Or mga sundalo. Yan. So, yung mga bayani natin nung panahon ng mga Espanyol, nakita nila na kailangan na talagang lumaban para sa kalayaan. Kasi alam ng mga naunang mga bayani natin na ang pakikibaka ay para sa ikaunlad ng bayan. And of course, when you had or conduct a resistance, your group has a common enemy. For example, yung mga bayani natin na lumaban sa mga Espanyol gamit ang pisikal na armas. Yan, sila General Luna, Antonio Luna, sila Marcelo del Pilar, sila Andres Bonifacio, lumaban sila gamit ng pisikal na laban. At the same time, yung mga propagandista tulad nila Jose Rizal, Apolinario Mabini, sila Graciano Lopez Haina, ang kanilang pakikibaka ay gamit ang papel, gamit ang pagsusulat. Even if iba't iba yung kanilang pamamaraan, pero nagkaisa sila sa pakikibaka dahil meron silang iisang kalaban, iisang mitiin. Their common enemy was the Spanish regime. Okay? So, next, societal values naman tayo ng Pilipino. Of course, Filipinos put an emphasis on karangalan. Yung mga sundalong namatay, they died with, of course, dignity as much as possible. But it's best with honor. Ginawa nilang lahat ng makakaya nila para ipaglaban kung ano man ang nararapat sa tingin nila, to the point na sinakripisyo na nila yung kanilang buhay. Yan. Of course, katarungan or justice. At that time, nung panahon ng mga Espanyol, nagsawa ng mga Pilipino sa pangabuso ng mga Espanyol. Pangabuso ng mga Guardia Civil. So, the Filipinos wanted to attain justice, or the principle of giving an equal reward or punishment to that person who committed an act, and also to create a peace of mind or peace throughout the society. Maraming mga Pilipino ngayong panahon ang humihingi ng katarungan. Ang tanong, kung yung katarungan ba na hinihingi nila nasa tamang konteksto, nasa tamang pamamaraan, o yung katarungan na hinihingi nila nakakabuti lamang sa kanila at hindi sa buong lipunan. Okay? Next is kalayaan. Of course, this was fought hard by our heroes in the past. Yan, exclude na natin yung people power na it's basically a political exercise. Yung kalayaan natin laban sa mga mananakop. Kalayaan natin laban sa mga Espanyol, yung mga lumabang Pilipino, yung mga lumaban laban sa mga Hapon sa pag-atake nila, and those Filipinos who fought for the freedom and liberation against rebels, against terrorists, and against those who are enemies of the state. Okay, are there any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, so let's proceed. Filipino personality and the cross-cultural studies of our Filipino persona. Yan. So dahil maraming mga dayuhan na sinakop tayo or were colonized by us, our attitudes, our personality, and our culture was considered a fusion, not just of the Asian or the Eastern culture, but also of Western culture. Dahil may mga Amerikano, and up until now, yung mga pamilya na may Pilipinong ina, for example, and may American or Canadian na papa or ama. So yung kultura nahahalo na, can be seen to our language, 'di ba? Ang mga Pilipino compared sa ibang mga Asyano magaling mag-Ingles dahil matagal-tagal rin tayong sinakop ng mga Amerikano. The way we dress, the way we prefer music, 'di ba? May iba sa inyo mahilig sa OPM or sa Filipino music. Yan, Pinoy music. Yung iba naman mahilig sa American R&B. Tapos meron na namang iba, yung mga hangal na mahilig sa BS, yung mga army. Yan. So, hindi naman tayo kontra sa Korean music. Yan, pero hindi tayo army. Yan. So, the influence, not just from the past, but also of today, yung impluensya ng Korea, impluwensya ng mga mahilig sa anime, 'di ba? Yung impluwensya ng mga Hapon at impluwensya ng mga Amerikano made our culture evolve and be a fusion or modification. Before pa nasakop tayo ng mga Espanyol, meron na tayong mga kultura galing sa mga Tsino at yung sa mga Malay. But as the Spaniards entered and colonized us, marami ng mga pananalita at mga kulturang na-adapt natin mula sa kanila. And most commonly, the example is Christianity o yung pagiging Katoliko. Ayan. One example also yung mga lengguwahe natin. Ang salitang lamesa. Yan. Mesa, lamesa, aparador. That's a Spanish word or has a Spanish origin. Yan. Or yung mga influence ng mga Amerikano. Yan. For example, the education system. It is basically American in origin. Yan. Public schools, private schools, elementary, high school, then tertiary education, yung college. Yan. So, yung personality na-adapt. Yan. So, combined with our innate characteristics, yes, Mr. Cabradilla, do you have a question? So, may pangutana na to. Do you have a question? Dahil lang nagakaon pa ko kayo, wala pa ko'y kaon ba? Pero sige. Okay, napindot mo lang. So, kung may questions kayo, ilagay nyo lang sa chat para medyo maklaro natin yan. Anyway, so let's proceed. Noong mga panahon ng paglaban natin sa mga Espanyol, our quest for freedom, there are certain Filipinos who were known to protect our interests and who have resisted or fought against colonizers. Yan. For example, si Lapu-Lapu. Yan. Consider the first police or siya yung naging pinuno ng mga tribo na namamahala sa isla ng Mactan. That's around 5 kilometers from mainland Cebu. Yan. So, nung panahon na dumating si Magellan sa isla ng Mactan, hindi tinanggap ni Lapu-Lapu at ng kanyang mga kasamahan yung pagiging arogante at nung impluensya na madadala ng Espanyol sa kanilang lugar. So, he fought with those. He fought with Magellan's people, which resulted into the death of Magellan. Ambot ng kinsay nakapatay kay Magellan. Pero, yun nga, si Lapu-Lapu naging isda, si Magellan naging monumento. Yan. So, yung victory ni Lapu-Lapu at ng kanyang mga kasamahan sa Battle of Mactan was considered the first recorded triumph or success ng isang Filipino resistance against the colonizers. Okay? So, according kay General Antonio Luna, yan, isang malaking karangalan ang ipagtanggol ang ating bayan. Ang magtagumpay o ang mamatay. So, in fighting for our freedom, there were certain sacrifices na napakasakit. Again, freedom is not free. Meron talagang kailangan pagbayaran in order to achieve a greater goal. Yan. Okay? Next. So, the Battle of Mactan actually occurred, according to history books, noong April 27, 1521. Yan, that's around, I think, a week or so after the arrival of Mactan or arrival of Magellan in Mactan. Okay? Next, si Francisco Dagohoy. Yan. So, Bulano na. So, during the 18th century, he led the longest ever recorded revolt sa ating kasaysayan. So, he led around 3,000 fellow Boholanos para ipabagsak ang mga Espanyol. Yan. So, he had a war campaign against the Spanish forces, and to the point na siya na rin mismo ang mag-uuna or would lead the battle. Kumbaga siya na yung nasa unahan. Siya mismo ang magpapakita sa kanyang mga kasama na ganito ang dapat gawin, which also resulted to him being known as a great leader and who fought against Spaniards. Yan. So, because of his guts, because of his people having great support for him, he then had that independence ng kanilang isla laban sa mga Espanyol, which, of course, remained independent to the Spanish people 85 years even after his death. So pagkatapos nyon, around 85 years after his death, na suko na rin ng mga Boholano ang isla sa mga Espanyol. Next, of course, sinong hindi makakalimot sa tatlong pare. Yan. So, yung tatlong pare, si Father Gomez, yan, si Father Burgos, and si Zamora, Padre Zamora. Yan. So, they are one of those Filipino priests who started and initiated the Cavite Mutiny noong 1872. Which of course, ang kanilang goal, freedom. Yan. But because of their actions which was considered subversive sa mga Espanyol, pare sila, binigyan sila ng pag-aaral ng mga Espanyol pero tinaksil nila ang mga Espanyol, they were executed or beheaded. Yan. Kasi kasama sila sa mga namuno sa Cavite Mutiny, which occurred from January 19 to 20 noong 1872, the same year. And because of their death, it paved the way for Dr. Jose Rizal to publish his book, yun, El Filibusterismo. Yan, the filibuster, in order to let the Filipinos or the readers know of the heroism of those three priests. Yan. Okay? Of course, ang ating pambansang bayani, si Jose Rizal. Yan. Kumbaga siya ang ama ng mga pilyong lalaki or the father of our propaganda against the Spanish colonizers. Yan. Because he was part of the propaganda movement. Yung mga propagandista, hindi sila lumalaban gamit ng dahas. It's mainly of their writings and kanilang mga speeches. Yan. And of course, yung mga kasama sa La Solidaridad, yung mga propagandista, lahat sila nakapag-aral sa mga malalaking eskwelahan, hindi lang sa Pilipinas, pati na yun sa ibang bansa. Yan. So, aside from the book El Filibusterismo, he also wrote yung pinakauna niyang novel, Noli Me Tangere, na Touch Me Not, which that book, as you have known since elementary, na pinapakita sa kanyang naisulat yung mga ginagawa ng mga Espanyol na makonsiderang violation or paglabag sa mga karapatan ng mga Pilipino. Yan, the dark aspects of the Spanish regime. Yan, paano nila inabuso ang mga Pilipino. Yan. So, the reason why he is considered our national hero because of his contributions not just of the propaganda movement but also his works were shared to fellow Filipinos at nagbigay ng pag-asa sa mga Pilipino na kailangan pa nating lumaban hanggang sa huli. Kasi nakikita na rin around the late 1800s na kaya na nating labanan ng mga Espanyol. Yan. So, Jose P. Rizal was formally named the national hero of the Philippine Islands by the American Governor General dito noon, si William Howard Taft, who then, after being the Governor General sa Pilipinas, he became the United States President. He suggested that Rizal should be the national hero of our country. Yan. And of course, si Jose Rizal was killed. Yan. Na firing squad siya sa Bagong Bayan, yung Luneta ngayon. Okay? So, next, Andres Bonifacio, yung ama ng Katipunan. So, he lived a short life, considerably short life. Yan, he was 34 when he died. He was a revolutionary leader who is one of the founders ng Katipunan. That's probably their secret society noon ng mga Pilipino. Yan. Nakita niya kasi simula nung pagkabata yung pag-aabuso ng mga Espanyol sa mga Pilipino. Even if wala siyang formal na pag-aaral, he understand that his contribution to the Filipino people belongs in a different propaganda or a different battle. Yung kanyang angking talino, which he acquired from private tutors, pati sa kanyang aunt or kanyang tita, was one of his weapons. And of course, yung certain military-like trainings niya in order to have that certain leadership quality, which of course, he used it to lead his men, yung kanyang KKK, yan, yung kanyang organisasyon, para magsimula ng lumaban sa mga Espanyol. Yan. So that started sa cry of Balintawak. Yan. So KKK, kataas-taasan, kagalang-galangang katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan. That's the meaning. So Andres Bonifacio, some of the historians considered him as the first Filipino president. But actually, yung ibang mga historians did not consider him the first president because there was no formal government during that time. Walang formal government na pinamumunuan ng mga Pilipino nung mga panahon. Next, si Apolinario Mabini, yan. He's the brainchild or siya yung utak ng revolusyon. So, his main work, yung La Revolución Pilipina, is an analysis or even a journal of the Filipino resistance, not just to the Spanish era or the Spanish colonizers, but soon to the early American invaders. Yan. Even though meron siyang sakit, yan, may kapansanan siya, but he used it as a motivation to serve his country and gain freedom for the Philippine Islands. Yan. So next, revolts against tyranny. So it was already explained kung ano ang tyranny. 'Di ba? Nasa definitions na 'yan. So tyranny, it is a crucial and oppressive government or a crucial and oppressive rule against a certain area. Yan, kumbaga tyranny, yung sinasabing abusadong administrasyon, abusadong gobyerno. So that's basically it. That's how they labeled the Spanish regime. Kaya of course, mga Pilipino conducted revolts or series of acts which of course put an end to the authority of the Spanish people against the Filipinos. So napakarami, may listahan dyan ng mga revolts starting from the 1500s hanggang sa last na revolt nung panahon ng mga Espanyol. Yan. Started with the Dagame Revolt. Yan. Up to the Cavite Mutiny. Yan. During those periods, ang daming revolution, mga military revolution ng mga Pilipino laban sa mga mananakop na Espanyol. And by the time nung 1898, yun, nagkaroon na ng independence ang mga Pilipino laban sa Espanyol. Of course, that happened during the Treaty of Paris. Kung saan, binayaran ng Amerika ang Espanya ng $20 million in order to claim the control of the Philippine Islands. So automatically, naging successful ang treaty, nagkaroon ng peking gera, yung Battle of Manila. Yan. Yan. Philippine-American War started after that. Yung peking gera ng Espanyol at ng Amerika, yung Spanish-American War, which lasted up until 1901, kung saan nanalo ang Amerika in a mock battle. Soon, naging kontrolado na tayo ng Amerika. But then, it didn't last that long. During December 7, 1941, inatake tayo ng mga Hapon bilang isang teritoryo ng Estados Unidos. So, we were earlier attacked by Japanese before nila inatake ang Pearl Harbor. Una nilang inatake, of course, Davao, the Gulf or Davao Gulf, pati na rin ang pag-atake nila sa lungsod ng Maynila. Of course, that's how they occupied Corregidor. And then, sunod yung pag-occupy nila sa Bataan. Okay? So, during that time, the Philippine forces of the Americans, yung USAFE, was under the command of General Douglas MacArthur. Ang kanyang assistant during that time was another US Army general, si General Dwight Eisenhower. Yan. A brilliant general na umassist kay Douglas MacArthur, which soon he became a member, even though American siya, pero an advisor of the Philippine Army. And after, by the 1950s, itong si General Eisenhower became the President of the United States. Kung saan, hinighlight niya ang pagtulong sa mga Pilipino at yung mga produkto ng kanilang pagtulong nung World War II. Yan. So, resistance movement. Napakaraming underground resistance movements na ginawa ang mga Pilipino at Espanyol Pilipino at mga Amerikano laban sa mga Hapon. Not just in the Visayan Islands, but also here in Mindanao. Yan. So, of course, the mass surrender of the Filipino and American forces was highlighted by the Death March or Bataan Death March. Yan. Of course, the Filipino and American forces during the surrender was led by General uh, Thomas Wainwright. Yan. So, okay, so much for history. Let's proceed to the patriotic symbols. Of course, the most obvious patriotic symbol of every nation is our flag, the Philippine flag. Okay? So, before the inauguration ni General Emilio Aguinaldo bilang unang formal na presidente ng bansa, he wanted to have a flag. Yan, which pwede nilang maipakita sa mga marches or sa mga seremonya nila. So, they realized that they need to create a flag. And together with his associates, during the time na in-exile sila sa Hong Kong, they requested for some Filipinos to make the first flag. And that task was given to a Filipina na si Marcela de Agoncillo. So, siya at ang kanyang asawa tumira sa Hong Kong and they were known to be good sewers, magaling na mga mananahi. So, ang sinabi ni Emilio Aguinaldo, Marcela de Agoncillo, kumuha ka ng mga tao at gumawa tayo ng watawat. Ang watawat ng Pilipinas was originally designed by the Junta Patriotica. That's a group of Filipinos or a council of exiled Filipinos na nasa Hong Kong na kinabibilangan ni Marcela Agoncillo. Yan. So, the symbols of the Philippine flag, yan, has the red, white, blue, and of course, yellow color for the sun and the stars. So the stars, the three stars represents the three major islands of the Philippines, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Yan. And of course, the color of yellow symbolizes yan, freedom, justice, loyalty, courage, and honor. Na kung saan, ang mga Pilipino meron lahat. The sun and its rays actually represents the 8 provinces, yan, 8 rays for 8 provinces who revolted against Spain. Yan. Yung Kalakhang, Maynila, Bulacan, Cavite, Nueva Ecija, Laguna, Batangas, Tarlac, pati ang Pampanga. They represent those rays. Yun, yung nasa sun. The upper blue color or the upper blue stripe represents peace, truth, justice, and universality. Yan. So, kapayapaan. Ang nasa baba naman na kulay, yung kulay pula, symbolizes bravery and patriotism. The thing is, when the Philippines is subjected into a war, kung God forbid, pupunta na naman ang mga Pilipino sa gera, babalik ta rin ang watawat. The red color would be the one put above over the blue color in times of war. Pero ika nga sa ating constitution, hindi pwedeng magsimula ng gera ang ating bansa. Okay? So, I'll proceed. I still have around 2 minutes. During flag raising ceremony, all government offices, schools shall observe that ceremony. Yan. So, every Monday, may flag raising ceremony. So, during flag raising ceremony, magkakaroon ng formation ang mga empleyado at mga mag-aaral They will put their right hand on their left chest and sing the national anthem. Ang national anthem natin, hindi RNB. It is originally done with a marching beat. Kasi originally, sinabi ni Emilio Aguinaldo, gagamitin yan sa pagmamarcha ng mga sundalong Pilipino. Yan. So flag raising ceremony, hindi lang yan ginagawa ng gobyerno at ng mga eskwelahan, pati na rin yung ibang mga opisinang gagawa din yan. And also, meron ding flag retreat or flag lowering ceremony. The same time, or the same thing also, kakanta rin ng national anthem every Friday afternoon pagkatapos ng trabaho. Yan. So, those are the other topics. Observance of the flag ceremony in official or civic gatherings shall be simple and dignified. For example, National Day, during national o yung araw ng kagitingan, April 9, yan. It must be played with original Filipino music and lyrics. Of course, following a march tempo. Hindi yung ibibirit pa. Okay? So, this is the last topic I will discuss, half-mast. So, the flag of the Philippines will be put at half-mast as a sign of mourning, national mourning sa mga buildings as much as possible. So, especially on government facilities, government property, kung merong sign of mourning, lahat ng yan naka-half-mast. Or yung bandila inilalagay sa gitna, binababa sa gitna ng flagpole. Yan. It pronounces the death of an official or a Philippine official or the death of certain Filipino soldiers who fought against those enemies of the state. Yan. Siguro kung namatay ang presidente or former president. Yan. Or ang vice-presidente, ang chief justice, or president ng Senado, or ang speaker of the House. Or other persons determined under the National Historical Institute. Okay? So, questions? Questions? Itong casket, lahat ng mga nagserbisyo sa gobyerno, whether mabuti or masama, subjected to having a flag draped on their casket. So, ngayon, yung mga police, pag namatay sila, in the course of their duty or namatay sila, merong watawat ng Pilipinas na nakapatong 1/2 or 2/3 of the portion ng kabaong. Okay? So that sums up for today. If you have any questions, you can put it in the forum. So again, thank you for listening and have a great day ahead of you.